Hi. This is an encounter I ran for my Dungeons & Dragons game. It was designed for a level 5 party of 3 players. Please feel free to use and modify this for your own game. It's a flexible encounter. The party was tasked with retrieving an object from a cave along a river. They knew where the cave was, so they began their journey in that direction. They had to cross a plains environment over about 3 days. To build some tension, right before they began this journey, an NPC warned them that some kind of sky shadow stalked the plains from above, swooping down to prey on people and animals. So now the party knows that they need to be aware of what's above them. They were also warned not to take horses, due to being an easier target from this sky shadow. In addition, they were made aware that gnolls roamed these plains and were prone to banditry. So now not only do they have to watch the sky, they need to scan the horizon for any ground threats as well. This adds to the tension and pressure and gets the party ready to expect danger. On the first day going through the plains, the party noticed a group of figures on the horizon moving parallel in the same direction. They're too far away to notice any distinguishing features, but they're already on edge because they're suspecting gnolls. The second day, they noticed that the figures were a little bit closer. They still couldn't make out any specific features, but the figures appeared to be humanoid and still moving in the same direction as the party. Clearly, they were converging on the party, so it's probably gnolls. Later in the day, the party began to feel the ground rumble and shake before a crash of rhinos crested a hill and stampeded toward them. Though it seemed odd that rhinos would just be randomly running and stampeding like this. The party had to either make some saving throws, ability checks, or use abilities to get out of the way. As the last few rhinos made their way past the party, they finally got to see the cause of the stampede. A wyvern chasing the rhinos for a meal. It scooped up a rhino calf and carried it away. Now they know what the sky shadow is. This continued to build up the tension and pressure. They know what's lurking above, and they know there's a ground threat approaching. On the third and final day, they didn't see anyone following them. Maybe the pursuers gave up, or maybe they were waiting to ambush the party. This kept the party on edge throughout the day. Eventually, they finally got to the river gorge, but before they could descend down to the cave, they were ambushed from behind by a pack of gnolls. Surprising, I know. So, to begin the encounter, I started by placing the hyenas closer and sending them in first since they were fast with a speed of 50 feet and would act as shock troopers. I had archer gnolls shoot at the party from a distance while the rest of the melee gnolls caught up behind the hyenas. I let them fight for a couple rounds before they began to hear some kind of flapping noise, and then a roar. The wyvern was drawn to the large crowd. Keep in mind, my party is only level 5 right now, so taking on a pack of gnolls and a wyvern at the same time would probably kill the party. If you're going to run the encounter this way, then the party needs to know exactly how much danger they're in. Have the wyvern pick off a few gnolls so the party can see how much damage it deals. You can try to be subtle and give hints, or you can just directly tell them that they're in a lot of danger. In my session, the gnolls knew the threat that the wyvern posed, so they ran for cover. The dirt path leading down into the ravine has several alcoves in the sides. These alcoves can only fit one person each. The party and the gnolls used these for cover whenever they could, sometimes attacking each other or making grapple checks to move someone out to take their spot. The reason for this was because the wyvern was doing strafe runs, picking off the stragglers. Every time the wyvern flew by, I flipped a coin to decide if it would attack the party or the gnolls. My players got very lucky, and the wyvern kept attacking the gnolls. After reaching the bottom of the ravine, most, if not all of the gnolls had been taken out, so the party made a dash for the cave, completing the encounter. Do you need to set up the encounter exactly the same way I did, with the exact same monsters? No, of course not. To me, this is a very flexible encounter. You could replace the gnolls with anything else. A gang of bandits, a giant worm, a vampire, just something to keep the pressure on the party until the wyvern shows up. Speaking of the wyvern, you could replace that with any other flying creature. An air elemental, a demon, a giant bird. Ideally something that will make both parties want to run away and utilize the cover running downhill. As for the terrain, it doesn't have to be a ravine either. Maybe they're trying to get to a forest across open plains, or maybe they're trying to get to a city's gates. In my opinion, this kind of encounter works best when there's a lot of open ground, so the threat from above feels genuinely dangerous until they can get to safety and cover. If the party wants to try to avoid combat altogether, let them make some stealth and survival checks to sneak through the plains without drawing attention. It might take them an extra day of travel, but they'll be minimizing risk. Also, if you or the party think that they can handle the Wyvern in a direct fight, then let them give it a shot. When I ran the encounter, the party's victory was them escaping the Wyvern. But that doesn't have to be the only form of victory. You could have the Wyvern flee if a certain amount of damage is done to it. So again, feel free to modify this however you like, or even run it the same way I did. I hope this helps. If anyone uses this, I'd love to hear how it goes.